I'm not really the dating type. Seriously. Whenever someone asks, "How long have you been single?" I usually say, "Since before TikTok existed." So, when I matched with a girl on a dating app, her name was Susan. I treated it like winning the lottery. She had a bright smile, long hair, and said she loved cooking. I thought, finally, the universe took pity on me. We texted for a week, and Susan invited me to dinner at a fancy restaurant downtown that weekend. I decided to prepare carefully. I bought a new shirt, sprayed my success scent, and practiced fancy English phrases like, "Ladies first." On the day of the date, I arrived 15 minutes early. The restaurant was packed, warm lights glowing, soft jazz playing, the kind of place where love begins by candlelight. I sat down at the table Susan mentioned. Table 8, near the window. I saw a long-haired woman sitting there, back turned, wearing a red dress. I stepped closer and said softly, "Susan?" She turned around. The smile was exactly like in her photos. But something felt slightly off. Up close, she looked a bit older than in her pictures. But I told myself, well, Instagram filters are powerful. I smiled, sat down, and started chatting. She was polite, charming, and asked a lot about my family. Then she said something that startled me a bit.
Do you often help your mom with the laundry?
I laughed awkwardly. Yeah, but why such a random question? She sipped her wine and smiled.
Oh, I just like guys who take good care of their moms.
I thought, wow, she's the perfect wife material. We had a great dinner, laughing and talking. She talked about her love for plants. I talked about how I accidentally killed my neighbor's plant once. When the bill came, she said,
Let me pay. Because today is my first meeting with my daughter's boyfriend.
I froze. Your daughter? She smiled sweetly.
Yes, Susan is my daughter. She was busy, so she asked me to come first.
The fork in my hand dropped onto the table, with a loud clink. I sat frozen like a wax statue. My brain was trying to process the fact that the woman in front of me wasn't Susan. She was Susan's mother. So, wait, you mean, you're Susan's mom? She smiled calmly and said,
Yes, my daughter said you might feel shy. So, I came first to make things less awkward.
I wanted to say, it's okay, now I'm twice as awkward. But my mouth refused to cooperate. And just then, Susan actually showed up. She was even prettier than in her pictures. But I must have looked pale as flour. Because I was still in shock.
Did you wait long?
Susan smiled brightly, then turned to her mom.
So, Mom, how's he? Did you two have a nice chat?
I gave a weak laugh. Yeah, it was nice, very informative. The waiter came over and asked,
Would the three of you like dessert?
Before I could answer, Susan's mom said,
No need, I'll leave you to it.
She stood up, smiled kindly, then leaned close to my ear and whispered,
Don't order anything with seafood. Susan's allergic to shrimp, but she tends to hide it.
And then she left, leaving me frozen for the second time. Susan looked a bit embarrassed.
My mom's a bit overprotective, huh?
I laughed. It's okay, your mom's sweet. Do you want shrimp? She smiled.
Of course, I love shrimp.
Red alert in my head. I hesitated. Maybe we should try something else. Like beef? She tilted her head.
You don't eat seafood?
I smiled awkwardly. It's not that, it's just. You're allergic to shrimp. She frowned.
How do you know that?
I stayed silent. I couldn't say. Your mom told me. That would sound like I was closer to her mom than her. She teased.
Did you Google me or something?
I grinned weakly. Yeah, strong male intuition. We kept eating. Things started to feel more relaxed. Susan talked about her job, and I shared funny stories from my interviews. But just as I thought the date was going well, the waiter brought out a small cake with candles. On the cake, it said, "Happy first anniversary, Mary and Tony." The whole restaurant went silent. Susan stared at the cake, then looked at me.
Tony, who's that?
I wanted to disappear. The whole restaurant went dead silent. It was just me, Susan, and the glowing cake.
Who's Tony?
Susan repeated, her voice rising slightly. I looked around, praying someone would shout.
Sorry, wrong table.
But no. The waiter smiled and said,
Happy first anniversary to Mr. Tony and Ms. Mary.
My jaw dropped. Susan turned to me and whispered.
And who's Mary?
I stammered. Mary, could be. A common name? But life didn't give me a chance to recover. From the entrance, Susan's mom came back. And she too froze at the sight of the cake.
What's with this cake?
She asked, eyeing me suspiciously. I raised both hands. I swear, I have no idea. She frowned.
Tony. Is that your English name?
I nodded weakly. Yeah, maybe. Susan folded her arms.
Giving me the explain yourself look.
I sighed and told the waiter. Hey, I think you've got the wrong table. That cake's not ours. The waiter checked his note and smiled.
Nope, it says table 8. Ms. Mary pre-ordered it for her boyfriend Tony.
I froze. Susan stood up.
You have a girlfriend named Mary?
I panicked. No, I don't. Just listen to me. Right then, another woman entered. Curly hair, blue dress, holding a rose. She looked around and smiled brightly.
Tony, you came early.
I almost fell off my chair. Susan's mom widened her eyes. Susan looked at me, like she was about to turn into a lioness. The curly-haired woman ran up and hugged the waiter.
I thought you weren't off work yet.
She said. The whole restaurant burst into laughter. I exhaled in relief. Susan chuckled awkwardly.
You've got interesting luck.
Thinking the storm had passed, I tried to joke to lighten the mood. I think the universe is testing my patience today. Susan laughed.
Yeah, and you did well. Except for one tiny thing.
I asked curiously. What thing? She pointed at my shirt.
Do you know your shirt's inside out?
I looked down, and yep, she was right. The giant, made in Vietnam, tag was proudly sticking out on my chest. I looked down at my inside-out shirt, feeling my face burn. Susan smiled, pointing at it.
You know, seeing you like this, it's both adorable and hilarious.
The atmosphere softened, but I stammered. I'm really sorry for the mess today.
It's okay, you're new at this. My mom thinks you're cute too.
The dinner ended, and we walked out of the restaurant.
See? Some days seem chaotic, but they end up being memorable.
I held her hand, feeling warm inside. Yeah, today really was a dinner to remember.